just know when I started in business, I didn't have resources like that. And so when I figured out that this resource is available to people that have access to the credit system in the United States, and basically, if you have a social security number, you have access to this tool. And it absolutely blows most people's minds, and it's life-changing money. Like for people who have a brand new business, if you do it correctly, you can get access to 50 grand like you did, even 100, even as high as $250,000 of 0% interest credit for 0% for that first introductory period, which is between 6 and up to 18 months.
Wow.
You guys gotta measure certain things in your life. And I think the most important 3 things to measure is your finances, like we just talked about, measuring or just monitoring tax strategy. So by monitoring and measuring your finances, it's gonna start telling you how much taxable income you have. And then 3, measuring and monitoring and building your credit, because you can do so much.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Bridging the Gap. I am your host, Bridger Rogers, and today we have one of my close friends, Jack McColl. He is the infamous king of credit. This guy right here helped me actually get access to over $50,000, 0% interest business line of credit that helped me immensely when I started my new Bridging the Gap business. And so today, if you're interested in learning how to travel hack, how to get access to free flights, hotels, travel, and also set yourself up. If you don't understand the credit system, you want to be able to maximize your credit score so that you have investing opportunities later down the line. He's helped hundreds, thousands of people do it. Jack, welcome to the podcast.
What's good, Bridger? So happy to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Dude, likewise.
It's good to be in this very hot environment. It's 109 outside here in Scottsdale, Arizona, but certainly a pleasure.
It is, and we are actually going to attempt, I say attempt, because we'll see if we make it. We're going to go run at the Scottsdale Run Club tonight, which will be fun. And so yeah, I wanted to bring you on the podcast, man, because you helped me out recently, right, where I was in a bit of a business transition. I wanted to be able to be a little bit more liquid, and you helped me get access to some lines of credit that helped me a ton, right, in scaling my business, being able to invest in advertising and things like that. And so I think, number one, I'd just love to hear, like, what's been your journey? How did you get into credit? Why are you passionate about it? And how has it ultimately, like, changed your life?
Yes, I mean, the one thing that I'm best at is helping entrepreneurs get access to money from the banks, specifically at 0% interest, so they can start businesses or scale businesses. And I just know when I started in business, I didn't have resources like that. And so when I figured out that this resource is available to people that have access to the credit system in the United States, and basically, if you have a social security number, you have access to this tool. And it absolutely blows most people's minds, and it's life-changing money. Like for people who have a brand new business, if you do it correctly, you can get access to 50 grand like you did, even 100, even as high as $250,000 of 0% interest credit for 0% for that first introductory period, which is between 6 and up to 18 months.
Wow.
And so when I figured this out, I just knew that if I didn't know this, being an entrepreneur for about 7 years, and I didn't know about this resource, there has to be so many other people that have no idea about it. And so I started to figure it out with myself. I started to try different things. And ultimately what was a huge breakthrough for me is I got in touch with business relationship managers. And these are the people that are the bridge between the consumers like us and the underwriters. And it's very tough to get in touch with underwriters. They make the decisions. But relationship managers know how to build good credit. And they can't promote certain things online, but when you get them on a phone call or an in-person meeting, you can learn a lot about what the underwriters are looking for. And so I reverse engineered what exactly the underwriters are looking for, and I figured out how to optimize different things on the credit profile. And ultimately, if you hit those certain optimizations, it then becomes very easy to get a lot of capital approved. So I did this on myself, and within 14 months, I got approved for about $500,000 in business funding. And so I started to teach other people. And really, once I started teaching other people, it gave me more data on what was working and what wasn't working. And so now in my mentorship program, we have over 3,000 entrepreneurs that I'm teaching this to. And so when you have that much data, like now, when strategies change, we know the exact best strategies. And when things change, we update everybody. But when you have data, like on anything, if you have more data, the right data, you can be way more effective.
Dude, that's crazy. And that's one of the things, guys, if you're listening to this, that you want to pay close attention to, the business relationship manager, right? And specifically, like, I think a phenomenal option that you recommended me to was Chase, right? One of the biggest banks, right? In fact, you ever watch The Men Who Built America?
No.
Dude, you should check it out. It's interesting. It talks about the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, and how ultimately J.P. Morgan started that.
Okay.
And it's really interesting on the money system and how the Industrial Revolution set up all the other, technology booms that we have now. But yeah, so talk to me about what are some good, I guess, tips, techniques when building that relationship with that relationship manager. Like I remember I went in person, so definitely go in person. I know you can fill things out online, but what's the value of in person, and what are some of the conversations or questions or things you want to share?
Yeah, and so when it comes to relationship, that's really a two-part question, because even before working with a business relationship manager, you want to be building a relationship with the bank. And so you can do that through two different strategies, through a banking relationship or a credit relationship. And so the two most important banks to build those relationships at is going to be Chase and Bank of America. Chase, because they just give out the highest limits, and they are relationship based. So if you can build a relationship either through a business checking account, personal checking account, maybe an auto loan, or any of their personal credit cards, they start to trust you a lot more. That way, when you apply for a business credit card, they're gonna give you a much higher limit. And Bank of America, if you don't have a banking relationship with them, you're not going to get approved for a business credit card. And so I always recommend for entrepreneurs to start a relationship at Chase and then go to Bank of America in terms of banking relationships. And so those are the type of things you want to do before applying for the business credit cards. And then when it comes to the applications, then you want to get in touch with business relationship managers, because when you do that, it's a direct line to the underwriters, which are humans looking at the applications, not just a computer algorithm. You don't need business relationship managers at all the banks, but there's some specifically you definitely want to have. And so Chase is 100%. You'll get probably double or triple the amount of limit by going through a business relationship manager than if you just went online or even just went with a normal banker. So a business relationship manager are individuals that don't generally hang out in the branches. Sometimes they do, but to get in touch with one, generally your business has to make a certain amount of revenue. But I've been quite fortunate and built really good relationships with these individuals, and I'm able to vouch for certain people. Like I vouched for you. And so before I introduced you, I said, hey, this is Bridger. He has this kind of company. His credit is optimized. So it makes the relationship manager's job easier because you already look attractive to the lenders, right? So that's how you would do it.
I love that. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things I've learned. You've always heard it said, right? I've heard it said, a lot of people online, your net worth is in direct proportion to your total network, right? Your network is usually close to your net worth. And that's so true, because literally just one warm introduction gets the foot in the door, rolls out the red carpet.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where, as you scale, it's not how, it's who.
Yeah.
Right. So talk to me about some of the other principles of building credit. And because a lot of people watching this, right, are sales reps, right? They're getting started, and that's one of the things I advise on. Once they start making above 50K, 60K a year, even 40K, they should be opening up an LLC to run their contracting sales reps through, or commissions through. And then that's actually a business, believe it or not. That's a business. A lot of people don't realize that. But if you're closing your contract, or you own your business, and you can use write-offs and different things like that, you can apply for business lines of credit. And so what are some other best practices in building credit?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good idea for those instructions to get an LLC, because there's many benefits. Asset protection, you can write off things on your business, which you can't if you just had your personal, and then you can get access to more funding. And so I always talk about this, is the things you measure are the things that are most likely going to improve. It's very hard to improve something if you don't measure it. And so you have to be measuring your credit, other things like tax strategy and many other important things in your life. But if you don't measure it, it's very difficult to actually improve. And so when you have the business entity, it's easier to measure certain things, like you look at your profit and loss statement every single month and determine how to actually grow that revenue, minimize expenses, and increase profitability. And then when it comes to credit, you can start building certain things on your credit profile. And so when you apply for a business credit card, the main things that the banks are looking at, and this is actually important, not many people talk about it, but the state that your business is registered in is a very significant thing, because it basically shows the amount of business funding options you have available to you. And so Florida, for example, or Pennsylvania are two of the best states to be registered in based on the amount of options you have available to you. People that are registered in Montana, there's just less options in Montana. So the state
Or Idaho?
Idaho as well. Or Hawaii, absolutely terrible.
That's where my business is at, Idaho.
Okay.
Yeah, so what are some of the limitations if it's in Idaho, and would you recommend moving it somewhere?
So this is a great question. So how you can do that is you can do a foreign filing into a different state. And so Arizona is actually a pretty good state for lending. So you could do a foreign filing into Arizona that basically registers your business in Arizona, shows the Secretary of State you do business in Arizona, and then you can get access to the banks in Arizona. And so a lot of people that I coach, I help them do that into Florida, because Florida has the best possible, there's just the most options. And so that is one thing they're looking at, is the state that your business is registered in. Secondly, the most important thing is your personal profile. And so when you apply for a business credit card, they look at your business credit profile, but even if you don't have one, that's not a deal breaker. The most important thing is the personal profile. So it's really much more than a score. And that's why I started talking about measuring, because building credit is something you want to measure and develop and keep building over time.
Yeah.
Because the more accounts you have on your profile, the stronger your profile is. But the thing is, you can't apply for a ton of personal credit cards in a short period of time and then expect good approvals on business credit cards. So ideally, you want to have at least 4 personal credit cards with a collective limit of those cards at 15K, like minimum. Ideally, you have 40, 50, 60,000 of collective limits on your primary cards. But if you're someone that only has 1 personal credit card right now, if you apply for 3 more, you're gonna have 3 opened in a 6-month window, which is a huge red flag. And that's why you wanna do 1 to 2 personal credit cards every 6 months, because if you wanna get an 850 score, you have to have at least 20 open accounts. So you have to do that over time. And then once you get over an 800, you're gonna get much better mortgage rates, much better credit card interest rates, and much better auto loan rates as well. And so it's something you wanna measure and develop over time. And so we just talked about the amount of accounts you should have and the collective limits you should have.
Yeah.
And so one thing I really emphasize to people is you need to be strategic on the personal credit cards you're applying for, because again, you don't want to apply for too many too quick. And if you apply for one at Chase, for example, which is a tier 1 bank, that looks way better on your profile than if you applied for a credit card from a credit union. That's a lower tier bank. So you want to focus on the big banks first, because those cards look better on your profile. So and then to follow up on that, you want to apply for cards that are known to give high limits. So you get a tier 1 account or tier 2, like a high tier card that gives you a good limit. And so my favorite is like the Chase Freedom Unlimited, which is not even hard to get approved for, but it's a tier 1 bank and it's a high limit card. Chase Sapphire Reserve, or the Preferred, those 3 Chase cards are really good. American Express, one of the co-branded cards like the Amex, the Delta, is a good card. A little bit less of a tier, but it's known to give a high limit. Another one that I highly recommend, and this one you can actually pay rent on this card. It's the Built credit card. It's issued by Wells Fargo, which is a tier 1 bank, so it looks good on your profile. It gives you a good limit, and you can pay rent. And the way you can pay rent is it gives you an account number and a routing number, so it doesn't look like a credit card. So when you're paying rent on this place, X $1,000 a month, you're giving them an account number and a routing number. They can even mail you a check if you need that, but it doesn't look like a credit card. So this development is not going to charge you a credit card fee, and you get one point per dollar spent on the Built card. And then you can use those points to transfer to loyalty programs like Alaska Airlines, which we'll get into the travel hacking stuff, but the Built card is a very good card.
I just signed up for this recently, actually.
Nice.
And I think I've got, I don't know what I have, 30,000 points, something like that.
Perfect.
Just been stacking up these points. And that's what I want to get into next, because once you start using business credit cards and personal credit cards, and you use all your expenses on these, and you do it the right way, you're opening up 1 or 2 every 6 months, you're getting those bonuses as you open them up on the tier 1 and then tier 2, etc. Two-part question. Are there any other cards that you would stack up to, like more advanced cards? Because I've got the Amex cards, I've got some of the Chase cards, tier 1s. Like, what are the other good bang for your buck?
Yeah, all right. So I'm going to actually, I don't have my book. Oh, I left it. It's my bag right there. But another card that is a really good card to get is the Wells Fargo Autographed Journey card. It's a brand new card, and why I love this card is, one, it comes with a 60,000 point sign-up bonus. It's issued by Wells Fargo, so it's a tier 1 account. I see good limits on it, and then the points it accumulates is 5x points on hotels, 4x points on airlines, and 3x points on travel and dining, which is incredible. So if there was one personal card that I would have, if I only had one, it would be that card, and it's brand new. And something that is also brand new is Wells Fargo used to not let you transfer the points from Wells Fargo to transfer partners. And so when that happens, you're stuck using those points in the Wells Fargo portal, which fixes you at a 1-to-1 ratio. And so what I do when I find really good deals on booking business and first class flights around the world, I've done Emirates first class, Etihad first class, and dozens of business class flights around the world. And you're able to do that with a little amount of points, like 60 to 100,000 points per ticket, by transferring those points to different loyalty programs, like Alaska Airlines, like British Airways, out of the bank. And so where I was getting at with that is Wells Fargo now allows you to transfer the points.
Wow.
So they're one of 5. So Chase, American Express, Citi, Capital One allows you to transfer points, and Wells Fargo, as of a couple months ago, is now the 5th bank that allows you to do that. So again, that's the Wells Fargo Autograph Journey Card.
Wow. And if you don't bank with Wells Fargo, can you still apply for it?
You can.
Okay, cool.
You can.
That's excellent. Okay, sweet.
That's a game changer. And
That is a game changer.
And I'm going to follow up with this.
Okay.
This isn't a card I would recommend at the beginning of your journey in credit.
Right.
On a max funding strategy. So this is a Capital One Venture. This is a Venture X.
Okay.
But the Venture and the Venture X gives you 2 points per dollar spent on everything. So I have certain cards that I use for dining, like the Business Gold gives me 4x,
Yeah.
for advertising 4x, my Autograph Journey, which gives me the 5, 4, and 3 that I just outlined. But then everything else, so like shopping, Amazon, Costco, haircuts, gasoline, I put on this card because it gives me 2x. Capital One allows you to move your points out of Capital One to different programs like we talked about. But what I don't like about this bank is when you apply for a Capital One card, it gives you 3 hard inquiries. So Chase most likely gives you 1 hard inquiry to Experian. Sometimes I'll do Experian TransUnion, but generally it's 1. Citi will just give you 1 hard inquiry, generally on Equifax. This will pull all 3 of your credit profiles. So if you're someone that is trying to get business funding soon, by getting this personal card and getting an inquiry on Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian right before business funding can totally set you back. So I do recommend this card, but only once you're taking a breather on business funding.
Yeah.
Like focus on other personal cards to build your profile.
Yeah.
Then do a round of business funding, and when you kind of think, I don't need business funding for another 6 to 12 months, then you can get this card because you can afford the hard inquiries.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's super helpful, man. And let's get into the travel hacking, because I know this is some of your most viral, content that you have. What would you say for travel hacking are some essentials as far as cards, and then not only cards, but what are the points that you're using and where? Because there's a lot of options, right? I was looking at my Amex, like there's Air Canada, there's like British Airways, there's Virgin, Galactic. There's a lot of options, and it can be overwhelming to someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
Totally. It's not an easy process. And I think one thing to really make sure you're doing, this is that there's so many levels to this question. Mm-hmm. But first you want to get a good personal credit score, mm-hmm. so you're able to get approved for the top travel cards. And then getting approved for the top travel cards based on the rewards you're generating on those cards, based on the transactions you're using them for. So like, look at your life and think about where you spend money. Dining, groceries, gas, hotels, airlines. So what are those top categories? And then making sure you have the best possible card for each of those categories. So dining, Business Gold, American Express Business Gold, 4 points per dollar spent on this card. For advertising, for electronic stores, office stores, this is an incredible business card. Mm-hmm. If there was one business card that I would keep for accumulating points, this would be the one card for accumulating points. Mm-hmm. So then you get all those best cards. So the best cards I think to accumulate points, at least for my lifestyle, which is kind of travel, dining, that's kind of the most of my expenses, mm-hmm. is you want to have the Business Gold, 4X, you want to have the Autograph Journey, or the Chase Sapphire Reserve, because that gives you the points on travel. Like the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I hope you're taking notes, guys. Chase Sapphire Reserve gives you 3x points on travel and dining. And the Autograph Journey gives you 3x on those things, but then 5x on hotels and 4x on airlines. And you can do that directly with the hotel and airline, which is kind of a unique thing. It's cool.
I like that.
It's a good thing. Other cards, you have to go through the Amex portal to get those high points. So you want to get the right point, you want to get the right cards, and then making sure you're using the right card to maximize the points you're accumulating. Then when you have the points, to take it to the next level, if you're following this exact strategy, you're diversifying the points you're accumulating. Because Chase, if you have Chase points, they only transfer to X amount of travel partners. And Chase does transfer to a lot of partners. American Express transfers to certain partners, but you want to diversify your points. So getting some at Wells Fargo, getting some at Citi, Capital One, American Express, and Chase. That's an advanced level, but at least having them in more than one place. Don't just get Chase points. Maybe get Chase and Amex, or Chase and Wells Fargo, but you diversify.
Totally.
Then one of the new partnerships that American Express just announced is with this software called Point.me. Point.me basically allows you to run searches between different airports on specific dates and then shows you where the best deal is in terms of how many credit card points you need to book that business class seat, and then it shows you what bank you need to transfer them from. And so if you have an American Express card, you can go on American Express, or you can even Google point.me/American Express. That might be the link, but you can Google it. And then you can log in. Usually it's a $15 a month subscription, but if you're with Amex, it's free. So you can go on here and you can type in, so if you're in the Phoenix area, Phoenix actually doesn't have many good long haul flights, like good deals.
Yeah.
So I would do a search from Houston, for example, or Los Angeles, or even do a little research. If you're trying to go to Europe, what are the best airports to depart from in the States to get over to Europe on the best deal with points? Houston and Dallas are going to be two of those airports.
They're pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. So then you would want to go in Point.me, put in one of those airports, Houston, and then go over to like Amsterdam, wherever in Europe you're trying to go. And again, you want to go to a good hub where there's really good deals.
What are some good hubs in Europe?
Paris, Amsterdam, Berlin. Those are pretty good ones.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I would run that search, and the limitation on Point.me is you only can do one date, one departing airport and one arriving airport. So I would pull up 20 windows and do a different date for each window.
Yeah.
So then you can do a date range.
Totally. So
And,
you have to do it. Yeah, this might be a good VA task.
For sure. Yeah.
Just say, hey, I want you to get me all the information on these dates, and put it in a spreadsheet.
These dates, these different airports, etc. So basically, and that's why it's important to diversify your points, because maybe if you need to transfer them to Etihad, which is an incredible airline, they have the best first class seat in the world. Only certain banks will transfer to Etihad. Or if you need American Airline miles, there's only certain banks that transfer there. And that's actually the Bilt card. The Bilt card, you can transfer points to American Airlines.
Oh, wow.
So diversity is very beneficial.
Yeah. I love that. And as far as the point bonuses on the actual airline cards, right? You said Delta was good with American Express.
Yeah.
What about the American Express one, or the American Airlines one?
Okay, so actually I just got a Citi card. It's a Citi business card. It's American Airlines, and there's a record high sign-up bonus. If you're listening to this, the deal might still be going on. I would check as soon as possible. But it's 75,000 American Airlines miles if you spend a few grand in the first 6 months. If it's 75,000 point sign-up bonus right now when you search this, that's the record, and I would consider applying for it. And so that is next level, because American Airlines Bilt is the only program you can transfer into, and actually that partnership is ending. We're getting pretty nerdy on this. I love it. I hope you guys are taking notes, and I hope this is valuable to you guys, because I want to help you build credit, get access to credit cards, get the points so you can travel in luxury. I've traveled over the entire world in business class because of building strong credit and having these points and knowing what to do with the points. And so this is not something I'm only able to do because I have a successful business. The average person can do this with the right credit cards, leveraging the right sign-up bonuses, and knowing how to use your points. And so where I was going with that is this card, you get 75,000 American Airline miles. When I flew the Etihad first class apartment, the sickest first class suite in the sky, it was from London to Abu Dhabi, which is next to Dubai, and I used only 62,500 American Airline miles. And it's several thousand, maybe $10,000 in value for that specific seat. So here, an average person with any sort of business entity can get the Citi American Airlines card, get the sign-up bonus, which is 75,000 American Airline miles, and then learn how to use different softwares, like Point.me is one of them, and then you can find a deal like that, and you just got a $5,000 to $10,000 seat for free just because I'm here on this podcast telling you guys on exactly how to do it.
Totally.
It's just next level.
That's crazy. And guys, we are going to be sharing a little bit of an opportunity for if you want more help with this, you want to really geek out and get a customized plan. I know that you do that for a select few individuals, which I know if you're watching the podcast, we'll have some spots for you. But I would say for the audience, right, do you think it would be valuable if you took a look at like my credit score, for example, and looked at some custom optimizations? And if so, like which one do you like to look at? Like if someone's like trying to audit their credit, measure their credit, what do you recommend?
Okay, cool. So definitely down to break down those chunks. While you're talking about that, the travel hacking, so credit stacking definitely talks about a lot of cool travel hacking strategies. I'm coming out with a brand new lower ticket travel hacking course. I'm in the process of making it right now. So check back in a couple months and we'll have that done, but it's gonna be absolutely next level.
I love that.
To teach people how to do this on a deeper level. But in terms of credit profiles, so in terms of, I'll do a couple different scenarios. So one of the things that banks like to see is an older average age on your profile. So if your credit is younger than 2 years, that's very weak. And so you can easily increase that by getting added as an authorized user to someone else's card. It piggybacks that age, and then it'll increase your average age. You don't want to do it with American Express because those are the only ones that don't increase your age.
Oh wow.
So if someone had a 10-year-old credit card, they can add you as an authorized user, it reports your credit, and then it'll increase your average age. So when you guys look at your credit, look for average age. Experian.com will show you if you're younger than 2 years, you want to get added as an authorized user to increase that age. And every new credit card you apply for will decrease that age. So that's a very important thing. I would do 2 or 3, not more than that. If you're someone that has less than like 4 or less personal credit cards, you want to increase that. You want to get more. If your collective limits are less than $15,000 on primary credit cards, you want to increase that. And again, you can do that through very strategic high limit personal credit cards, so you can get another strong account, and so you can increase your collective limits. So age, the amount of primaries, like personal credit cards you have, the collective limits are very significant. And even like more on a basic level, your payment history is crucial. And so if you're someone that has several late payments or collections, you need to go find a credit repair company to go dispute those and get them removed. So that's first and foremost. Like if you have negative payment history, go get that taken care of first with a credit repair professional who can get those wiped. But then you're looking at age. We're looking at balances too. So the balance on your personal credit cards have a very significant factor in your score.
Right.
So sometimes people have like very high balances on personal cards, and once you pay them down, their scores shoot up. And so the key there is to pay them a few days before the statement closing date, and so it doesn't report that balance to the credit profile, because that balance then reports for 30 days. So one mistake I see when people are about to get business funding, they let one of their personal balances spike up and they don't pay it off in time. Like you can max out personal credit cards, but you need to pay them down before the statement closing date.
Yeah.
And if you don't, your score can easily drop 100 points.
Wow.
But a good thing is when you pay it off, it comes right back up.
It'll come right back up.
Yeah.
Dude, that's super helpful, man. So I pulled up my Experian.
Cool.
I want to hit 800 credit score. I'm sitting at a 764. Tell me what you would do in my situation here.
Okay, 764. We're gonna pull this credit.
If we need to upgrade or whatever, let me know.
Credit reports. We'll see if this is gonna be fast enough. But I have one of my students who has an 850 credit score.
Wow.
So, one, you have a good bit of inquiries. You have a good bit of inquiries. So there's actually services where you can get those inquiries disputed and deleted, which it doesn't have a significant impact on your score, but it definitely helps when there's 14 to get those removed.
What are the inquiries for?
When you're applying for, looks like an auto loan, Chase, Alley Financial, Westlake Financial.
And they stack up over time, you're saying?
Looks like Porsche.
Yeah, I was going to buy a Lambo, dude.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I got to get some of those
getting
removed.
the inquiries removed. So let me go over.
Okay,
see
so
if
that's
there's
a good
collective
tip.
limits. Okay, so your credit limit collectively, this includes authorized users, but it's $55,000. So I don't know how much is that from primary credit cards, but do you have any authorized users?
No.
Okay, so you have 55K collective of primary credit cards,
Yeah.
which is good.
Okay.
So that's really good. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 credit cards I see
Personal?
here. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think a potential installment loan. And then in terms of
What do you mean installment loan? What does this
let's see
say?
here. Spokane Teacher. Oh, is that a credit union?
That's a credit card.
Okay.
With a credit
So you
union.
do have 6. So you're doing pretty good there. We're not on the app, so it's a little bit more difficult to. I can print my report to navigate this. But when we look at this student of mine, real quick. Okay, average age is 3 years, so you're pretty good. Above 5 years, you're crushing it. Below 2 years, you're young. So you're at 3 years, which is good, not to be worried about. But you can get added as an authorized user to maybe a family member's card, and it'll increase your 3 years.
Cool. So that's 2 tips right now. So if you're watching this, you have a similar situation, a lot of inquiries, or you have under 5 years, 2 tips right there to increase. If I did both of those, what do you think that would impact on the credit score? How many points?
So increasing your age and deleting the inquiries can probably boost you about 10 to 20.
Yeah, that's what I
What's
thought.
really your balances are already low, and so because you only have personal credit cards, you can diversify your credit mix through other credit products. So something that brought me from an 800 to an 826, at that point I only had personal credit cards as well. And what I did, and it's called a pledge loan. This is a little bit advanced, but there's a couple banks that do this, SoFi being one of them. I did it with Navy Federal. And so Navy Federal has this, essentially it's called a pledge loan. And you can do this with a smaller amount, but I put 10 grand into, I think it was a personal savings, and then you can take a loan against your own money. And so you're taking a loan, they give you 10 grand with your 10 grand as collateral, and then you pay off 95% of that. Now you have a 95% paid off installment loan on your credit. So not only is it 95% paid off, which looks good, but now it diversified my credit mix, which is 10% of your score, or maybe 15.
Wow.
So but going from no diversity to some diversity, that increased my score from 800 to 826.
Wow.
Pretty substantial.
That's huge. So that's a great tip.
Yeah, really good. So you do it with Navy Federal, and
Easy to apply for? No.
super easy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not a lot
with
of
Navy
hoops.
Federal, technically you need to have a family member in the military. I think it can be extended family.
They can?
Yeah.
I have some family in the Navy.
Cool. So SoFi is another bank that offers that as well, SoFi. And then when I got an auto loan, my first auto loan, financed by a bank that reported my credit, that also increased. It was actually an initial decrease because it decreases average age, and it's just a fresh account, and there's hard inquiries associated with it. But over time, it actually brought me higher. My highest I've been at is 840, and I probably have I have 2 auto loans. I have how many personal credit cards? Maybe 10 personal credit cards, a few authorized users. But it will go up over time. So let me think. When one student had an 850 score, he had 20 total accounts. I think he had about 16 personal credit cards. He had 2 authorized users. I think 1 or 2 auto loans, and that basically made up to that 20 accounts. And his average age was over 5 years. But to get over an 800, you need to measure it and do this over time.
Yeah, it's going
You
to take.
can't have an 800 with 4 credit cards.
Yeah, I've been building my credit since I was 18. I opened up the first, $1,000 student, whatever credit card, and then got Amex, and then been building. So, yeah, this is probably a decade process, maybe 5 years if you sprint, but probably a decade to get to 850 or 800, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
so decade. So yeah, my goal would be probably, what would be a good goal for me, like to get to above 800 credit score?
I'm like, what to do?
Yeah, well, we have the steps, but some of these ones, like, so if I took do you think I could get above 800 with those 3 steps you gave me?
Okay, so there's 3 steps for an authorized user to increase your age.
Yep.
I'd probably do 2 of them.
Okay,
Because you have none, I would go to 2.
Mom and dad, yeah.
Yeah, so 2, ideally you have 5 to, the age of the card that you're being added to, over 5 years.
Yeah.
Whatever the age of the card is, should be older than your current average.
Yeah.
Ideally, they're 10-year-old cards. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, my parents have those, yeah.
Perfect. So get 2 of those, and then get someone to remove your inquiries. There's services that
What
do
does that cost, typically?
About $250 to $500.
Okay.
Yeah. And then your balances are already low, and then diversifying your credit mix to something in addition to just revolving accounts.
Yeah.
So an auto loan, like that's going to help. Getting the potential pledge loan would certainly help. And then when's the last time you applied for a personal credit card?
A while ago. Because
Okay.
I did business with you in
Yeah.
February. I haven't done anything since. So it's
Okay.
probably...
Yeah, so
Could've been a
I would
year ago.
apply for basically like 3 a year. Like
Okay.
3 personal credit cards a year, kind of spread out a good
Okay.
bit. That's going to be highly beneficial.
Yeah.
So I'll look at some of my favorite, the autograph journey.
That's what I'm going to do next.
Yeah.
You
that's
told me
huge.
that. and I was
You
like,
guys should
oh,
highly
okay.
consider it too. Unfortunately, there's no affiliate link, so I can't share that affiliate link. But it's a really good card.
I'm going to get that one. That's a good one, I think, this year. And then what would
That's a
be
good one.
my second one, you think? I get that one, and then what do you think? The Venture X, or...
Yes.
Because I have
for
enough.
sure.
I have enough, right? Like
Yeah.
6. That would be my seventh card. There'll be 8th card.
Yeah, so those would be really good cards because the autograph journey is going to give you the
Travel.
5x on
Hotels.
5x on hotels. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
5x on hotels, 4x on airlines.
Yeah.
3x on travel and any personal dining.
Yeah.
And then you get the Venture or Venture X for everything else.
Yep.
And you're getting 2x.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So the Venture gives 2x, but the Venture X also gives 2x. The Venture X comes with a $400 annual fee. However, it does come with a $300 credit to use on travel booked through the Capital One portal. And then it also comes with Priority Pass, which is airport lounge access, TSA pre-check once every 4 years. There's a couple other good benefits. So we'll shift gears into when to cancel or downgrade cards.
That's what I was going to ask you about. That's perfect timing.
Good, because I'm about to do this for a few cards. Because I have many cards and some of the benefits overlap.
Yeah.
And so really you want to cancel cards as little as possible, specifically personal cards.
Okay.
Like if you cancel a business card, it doesn't really affect too much.
Okay.
But when you cancel a personal card, it's going to close that card and it's going to decrease your average age and it's going to decrease your collectible limits.
Right.
So what I would recommend, if it has no annual fee, then there's no reason to close it.
Yeah, keep it.
Literally put a subscription on it and put it on auto pay. Put YouTube Premium, put Spotify on, find 2 cards and
Okay.
just have them auto pay because you don't want the bank to close you down.
I think I had that happen one time, yeah.
It can happen. So I have like a Citi card that it's a stupid card, and I just put Spotify on it and it's auto pay and they're not going to close it, and it's like a 5-year-old card.
Yep.
So perfect. So if you're in a scenario where you have an annual fee and you don't want to pay it anymore, like this card, $400 annual fee, and I got to the point where I was debating on paying for it, and I asked them on how to downgrade. And basically, I was debating the downgrade options because when you downgrade, you don't lose the account.
Okay.
It still stays open, but you just lose some of the benefits. I actually made the decision to keep this card, and I'm going to cancel some other ones instead, mainly some business cards that I'm paying thousands of dollars
Bro, tell me about
credit
it.
card annual fees.
Dude, Platinum's ridiculous.
Platinum is ridiculous.
That's the one I'm thinking about canceling. Tell me.
So here's,
tell me what you think.
I will tell you about that one. So when it comes to the Platinum, the business Platinum,
Or what about the personal?
personal Platinum is similar.
I have it.
So I don't have that one.
Okay.
I'll speak on the business Platinum. The benefits are similar, but I'll help you think through the thought process.
Okay.
So the business Platinum, the annual fee is $700, and I don't like wasting money.
I know. I saw that get hit literally.
And when you have, when I have several of the top cards that have 700, 400, 500, 300, 300, it's several thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at all my cards, figuring out which ones make sense to keep. The business goal, it just increased. It's like 350 now. I have multiple of these. So anyways, business Platinum, it's $700, but you get some statement credits. It's kind of annoying because you have to kind of work for the statement credits. Like you get $400 at Dell a year, but it's $200 every 6 months. So I have to remember the first 6 months, make a purchase at Dell, and I'll buy some headphones for $350, and they'll give me $200 back. And then the next 6 months, I'll do that again for maybe a computer screen like I just did, and they'll give me another $200 back. So it's kind of cool, but I've had it for several years. So I'm like, how much more stuff do I need from Dell?
Right.
I'm like, I already have all the best stuff that I need. So that's become less significant to me. It also gives you $10 a month on your cell phone plan. And so that comes out to $120 a year. So now that's actually pretty helpful.
For Platinum?
Yeah. At least business platinum.
Okay.
So you'll look at the personal platinum and go, how I'm doing this, and determine if it's worth it for you.
Totally.
So that brings us to $520 in statement credits. And then next, there's an airline credit. So this is actually a good strategy for people who have a business platinum, because the airline credit is supposed to work only for incidentals, I think it's called, for checking bags, for I think food on the airplane. There's like a couple things you can use it on. But I don't really pay for checking bags, and I don't really buy stuff on the plane. And anyways, United, if you go on American Express and you make United your preferred airline, and this is the only airline you can do this with. So once it's preferred, United is the preferred airline on American Express, you can then buy a United travel bank, 2 of them for $100 a piece. This is the only airline you can do this with. When you buy those 2 travel banks, American Express is going to credit you for each of those, the 100 and the 100, and that's your $200 annual airline credit on the Amex Business Platinum. So now I have $200 at United that I can use to book flights.
In points?
No, cash.
Oh, the cash.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
now
a
I
gift
have
card or
cash.
something?
It's like a gift card, yeah. So
Where do
instead
you
of,
buy that?
on just United
just get-
Travel Bank.
Travel bank.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but
Okay.
before it has to be your preferred airline.
Yeah.
But why that's significant is because now I can use the cash to book flights.
Right.
Instead of just checking bags and incidentals.
Yeah.
So now we'll look at the value. We're at 720.
Right.
And so we're plus $25 because it's $695 for the annual fee.
Right.
So now we've broken even, but now that kind of took some thought, took a little time. Now I got to use the cash for the flight, and then we look at the benefits. So it comes with Clear, which is $189, which honestly these days Clear isn't even that significant because there's so many people that use Clear, like TSA Clear.
Yeah.
Where like it's really not even faster.
You think so?
Dude, sometimes it's slower.
What?
Yeah.
I've yet to experience that, but
Sometimes
you
it's
travel more
faster.
than me, so
it's hit or miss. Like when I went to the Salt Lake City airport the other day, I just went to pre-check and I knew it was gonna be faster, and it was faster.
pre-check's almost always faster.
Oh,
for
pre-check
sure.
you have to have.
Yeah.
And so the
much
Platinum does
faster,
come
yeah.
with pre-check once every 4 years, gives you global entry.
Okay.
Gives you Clear. And so anyways, now we're broken even on statement credits.
Yeah.
It's worth it because I use the credits. But then it gives you a lounge access to the Centurion Lounge.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it, and one I could think like, just let me pay for the $700 and it's probably worth it, blah, blah, blah. But I'm potentially going to cancel it because I don't need more stuff from Dell. I'm doing something else with my phone plan where I'm not going to put it on that card.
Yeah.
And I don't need Clear because it's really not that much faster, and sometimes it's slower.
Yeah.
And then the Centurion Lounge, and I have other lounge access, and the Centurion Lounge is pretty packed these days.
Yeah.
They need to fix that issue.
Yeah.
And then I get the TSA pre-check and the lounge access from other cards. So cancel it.
You're gonna cancel it. Yeah.
And the thing
I'm
about
on the same page.
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
The thing about the Business Platinum is it doesn't generate much points. The only way it's good on generating points is if you use it through the Amex portal on flights.
I know.
Or
That's
hotels.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I'm gonna have to look at mine and probably end up canceling it this year. I should have canceled it a couple months ago because it just hit the credit. So now I'm like stuck with it. But
Yeah. So the good banks like Chase and Amex will give you 30 days to cancel, but other not so good banks like Capital One, when it hits, there's no going back. And so keep that in mind. Like Chase and American Express, like once it hits, you can be like, hey, it just hit. I don't want to downgrade or cancel, and they'll
Reverse
refund.
it. Okay.
But other banks, they won't do that. Yeah.
it's good to know. So what are you downgrading to on your Amex Platinum?
So because it's a business card, I don't care to downgrade it. I'm just gonna cancel it.
Oh, you're just gonna cancel.
I think I am. I think.
If you were gonna do personal, would you just pick one with a 0% annual fee, or what would be your thought process?
Okay, so on Amex charge cards, there's only so many options to downgrade to, and I think the only option for the Platinum is to go to the business, or to the green, which I think it comes with a $100 annual fee, and there's some benefits. So I would look at the benefits. I know like Equinox is one of the big benefits on the personal Platinum, but you work out here. It's a nice gym.
Yeah.
You might just want to straight cancel it if you can't justify it.
How much do you think that'll impact my credit if I cancel it?
See that? Okay, so
That's one of my oldest cards.
okay.
So that's the problem. So that
then I would
card's
just-
like 5 years old.
So then I would just downgrade to I would look into downgrading to the green.
Yeah. Okay. The green.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because it's
And-
my second card.
And one thing I'll mention, like when someone's trying to build strong credit, I would actually avoid the personal charge cards.
Yeah.
Because like the personal gold, personal platinum, when we look at those cards, because they're charge cards, there's no limit on the card, even though there's spending power. But because there's no limit, it doesn't report a limit, so it doesn't increase your collective limits.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this and you're trying to build your credit, get more accounts, increase your collective limits, you want to do other cards.
Yeah, it's
because
literally a
it
charge
gives
card,
you more bang for your effort and your buck. And then when you're in this situation, because I have the personal gold, and I don't use the benefits, and so I'm in a similar situation. Luckily, it's a newer card for me, so it's less of a blow. But I'm going to cancel that card too, just because that card is good for 4x on dining, but personal dining. Of course, I talk about business at every meal.
Totally.
Put that on the business card.
Yeah.
4x on groceries, which I don't buy too many groceries.
I'm the same way. I usually
like-
have my private chef buy my groceries.
Yeah,
So
I
she's getting the points. I should give her my card though.
That's true. Yeah, give me your card.
Give her the 3x. The what is it? The new one. The new card is 3x, right? Is that it?
You would want to. The two best cards for groceries is going to be the personal gold and the Venture or Venture X, because you get 2x.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. never
Yeah.
mind.
If you gave her any other card, you'd get 1x.
Oh,
which is
that's
still
right.
better than none.
That is still better than none.
So you're spending $1,000 in groceries a month, 1,000 points, and then you learn about these travel hacking strategies that we're talking about. Then you can turn that $1,000 or the value of those 1,000 points into 5 times as much more value, potentially 15. And so you can do that when you learn how to transfer the points. And so what I mean by that is when we see this 10,000, I'll give you a tangible example.
Okay.
When I booked a flight for 2 people, me and someone else, from San Diego to Munich. It was Lufthansa business class, and it was 70,000 points per ticket. 70,000 points per ticket, which on a 1-to-1 ratio is worth $700. Okay?
Wow.
$700 of points versus paying $7,000. So that's a 10 times multiple.
On the value.
Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not paying $7,000 for a business class seat.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm paying 70,000 points, which is worth $700.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And it's because you're using the softwares, you're playing it on the right time.
Yeah.
You're being smart about it. So do you use a spreadsheet tracker to keep track of your points and how you're doing all this? Or what's a good way, just a notes app? Or
There's an app called Wallet Flow I've used in the past. I do like notes. I'm not super technical on the tracking stuff.
yeah, just keep the
But
cards.
one thing I will emphasize on tracking and measuring personal finance, it reminded me, I've been recently using this app called Monarch Money.
I love that app.
Love that app.
It's crazy.
It's sick.
Yeah.
Bro, it just breaks down your categories of like different income streams,
Yeah.
different expense categories, and then you can set a budget. Like, oh damn, I spent that much money on dining last month. I'm gonna tone that back if I'm trying to hit certain savings goals.
Totally.
And it's like
Net worth statement.
Yeah, net worth. It just gamifies everything.
Yeah,
it's like I'm
totally.
trying to see net worth keep going up. I'm trying to see my income on these certain streams keep going
Yeah.
up. I'm trying to maintain certain cost of living so I can save enough money for certain real estate property purchases. And again, it's Monarch Money. Highly recommend it because if you don't measure things, it's very hard. And the example I give is like driving down a highway. You have a pretty good idea of how fast you're going, but you don't know unless you're looking at the speedometer. That's why there's a speedometer in the car.
Yeah.
If you don't look at your finances on a daily, weekly, and minimum monthly basis, you're probably not being as efficient as you could. Potentially
Yeah.
blowing it. And on the business, you should be doing this with your P&L on something like QuickBooks and making sure those categories are dialed in. You can set up rules so it does it automatic auto categorization and looking at your P&L every single month. I've been doing this for years and I've realized that many entrepreneurs don't do this. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Do your accounting and look at your P&L on a monthly basis. I'm serious.
And if you're a sales rep, use Monarch Money. You'll see
Big
your
time.
income coming in, and then your expenses are going to be all your cards. Just put your cards on there.
Yeah, and even if like you're not at the point now where you need to do the business P&L and things like that, like what you're suggesting is you can connect business accounts to Monarch Money.
Yeah.
And actually I do that with one of my entities because it's just a little bit easier to manage that together. And then two other business, I have the P&L from QuickBooks. So you got to track it.
Dude, that's fire.
Yeah.
Well, dude, any other closing thoughts, remarks before we hit the run club?
I mean, you guys gotta measure certain things in your life. And I think the most important 3 things to measure is your finances, like we just talked about, measuring or just monitoring tax strategy. So by monitoring and measuring your finances, it's gonna start telling you how much taxable income you have. And if you don't proactively think about tax strategy, you're gonna get screwed. And I've paid a stupid amount of tax in 22 and 21 and 23. I started to get on top of it. But if you don't think proactively on tax strategy, and I'm no tax professional, but and we haven't talked about tax, but I recommend, it's very important to start learning about tax. So when you're making certain amount of money, you can forecast, okay, I have this much taxable income and I'm projected to have this much taxable income. How do I make sure I have enough deductions so I'm not paying a ton of tax? The sooner you figure this out, the sooner you're gonna get ahead. So measure your finances. That leads you into monitoring tax strategy. Yep. And then 3, measuring and monitoring and building your credit, because you can do so much. You can start businesses, scale your business, get the points and travel for free. And even if you don't need credit now, as we're talking about, it takes a long time to build strong credit. You want to start now and you don't want to disregard that. I disregarded it for several years. The first time I checked my credit profile, I was 26 years old. Absolutely embarrassing. I did have a couple good personal credit cards, and I sure just got lucky. I had a friend that said, hey, apply for this Chase Sapphire Reserve. And I just sure got lucky that I had some level of credit. And I didn't do it. 26.
26.
Stupid.
That's crazy, dude. And that's when you got in the space, right? Shortly after that.
Shortly after.
How old are you now?
30.
30. So it's been about 4 years.
And I just started studying tax strategy really in 22, but it wasn't soon enough to actually help me out.
Really?
And then 23, I was on it, and I crushed. Did a good job.
My guy.
And then I'm just going to keep that rolling.
Dude, that's the way to do it.
You want to get to paying 0 in tax, and you want to keep that rolling.
Totally, because you're investing in some real estate stuff. There's huge write-offs with that, and that's because he's got access to credit. So, yeah, and your buddy Carlton.
I was going to say, shout out Carlton Dennis. I work with him, and he's super helpful. He has a ton of free content on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So Carlton Dennis, he's great.
Yeah, we're gonna get him on the podcast. We're gonna do it, but he had I think his wife was pregnant and something, take care of her. But
making babies.
So when the episode's out, guys, make sure you're subscribed because you're not gonna want to miss it. He helps people minimize their taxes and make sure that they're paying the least amount of tax legal. Jack, what a pleasure. This is super valuable, guys. When you are in Mykonos, when you're in Italy, when you're in Amalfi Coast, make sure you send us. Tag us on Instagram, tag Jack McColl, tag me, and shout out the Bridging the Gap podcast because I know that you're going to be able to do these types of trips. And I'll do the same to you. So I know that people who are watching this are going to want to follow your journey, want to get access to the travel course. Highly recommend it, guys. Where can they get access to you online on social media?
Cool. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me. It's been a great discussion. I'm excited to go run in the running club after this. And thank you guys for tuning in today. Hopefully you got some good value out of it. I'm here to serve, listeners and people in my community to help them get to the next level, hopefully. But if you want to follow my journey, my Instagram is Jack McColl. And if you want to learn more about my mentorship program, it's creditstacking.com. You can book a call. We'll chat about different options on how exactly we can help. And again, we have a travel hacking lower ticket offer coming out soon. We're super pumped for it, dude.
Sick, man.
Thanks again.
Dude, thanks for coming on. And guys, if you're not subscribed to the show here on YouTube or on Spotify, wherever you're listening, make sure you subscribe because I bring you world-class guests who can help you bridge the gap in one area of life or another. And if this was valuable, I know it was, go ahead and share this with someone that is looking to crack their credit, looking to take their finances to the next level because we want to spread the awareness, the social awareness so that you don't get stuck in the matrix. I am Bridger Rogers. This is Bridging the Gap. We'll catch you guys next time. Cheers.